Going around the table, do you consider yourself a feminist? Starting with you. Go ahead.
Well, I need a definition of that.
A lot of definitions going out
Unless somebody
tonight.
else wants
We want
to start
men
first.
and women to have equal rights.
Equality.
What type of rights? Like civil rights?
Jesus Christ.
All rights.
I don't want men and women to be equal, no.
Oh, you don't?
No,
Okay.
not like that. I think that's why we're attracted to each other, is because of our differences as well.
Oh,
Like I said, there's
okay,
got to
I
be
could-
some type of
I can
dynamic
get
going
behind
on.
that. I can get behind that. Okay. You.
I think for the most part, yeah. But there's some things I like a little more traditionally.
Okay, I'll come back to that. What about you?
I would say actually similar, feminist, but a lot of traditional values.
Okay.
The term feminism, like, it's not, I don't think it's as intersectional as, I don't know. I wouldn't consider myself a feminist. I think that, I don't think I'm more or less than a man. I don't think a man's like more or less than me. I think we're like yin and yang, but I mean, I think we need equality for women in other places. Women need more uplifting. So I do believe in some principles of feminism.
Okay.
But I wouldn't call myself a feminist.
If feminism is like equal or equality between men and women, then I would say yes, I'm a feminist. But I'm more so like equal opportunity.
Okay.
Than
Sure. What about you?
I would say definitely not, only because the principles of feminism are not required, especially for anyone sitting at this table or anyone in this, like in our society at large.
Andrew, are you a feminist?
Well, not only am I not a feminist, but with the exception of the nice lady who brought cookies, all of you are feminists. Every single one of you is a feminist.
You think so?
Yeah.
How do you
Well,
tell me
because
what I am? I'm curious.
What would make me more feminist?
And I just want to say, not like that, but feminism came around in time, like suffragettes and stuff, when like I'm a black woman, so white girls weren't even working, and then they wanted to go back to working, so they're like, I want to be a feminist. But like me 200 years ago, like that wasn't really the same. Like feminism wasn't really the same for me, so that's why I don't identify with it. So I feel like, not like that, but I'm not a feminist because my people always been working.
Well,
so.
let's start with what you think feminism is.
Well, what do you think it is? You just called me a feminist.
Well, so I think I can demonstrate this pretty easy, right? But let's just start with what you think it is. What do you think it is?
I mean, feminism started as like women wanting to be equal, so wanting to be able to like get jobs, be able to like leave the house, go work, you know, have more rights.
So which of those values do you disagree with?
Well, I mean, I disagree with the idea that, well, like I just said, feminism was never really for me as a black woman because we've always been working. Like we never had the option to like sit back and then decide like 50 years later that we wanted to go back.
Yeah, but
to
which of
working.
the values that
I'm
you
answering
just
the
stated?
question.
Yeah.
Wait, if I can just add to what you're saying, very early feminism was actually very racist. So you actually
Yes.
do make a good
That's
point
why
that
I
early
don't-
feminism
I don't
was
call myself that.
they wanted I don't want to, I could be off here. I think they wanted to secure the vote for white women.
Yeah, Planned
But
Parenthood,
not-
all that stuff. Margaret Sanger, all of them, they were eugenicists. They were not for me. So
Okay.
for you to sit and tell me I'm a feminist, it genuinely, like at the basis of feminism, it was never for me. So no,
Yeah, but
I'm
which
not.
of the
Being her
values?
friend, I would like not call her a feminist.
Which of the
either.
values? then tell me
But
the
I do
values you
think-
disagree with.
I don't think that
it's like,
you should.
just because I can work doesn't mean I want to. Like someone fought for that right, and I'm like, good for them. They should go to work, but I don't really want to.
They could work before feminism came around. Where did this idea come from that women couldn't work before there
Well,
was
like you couldn't have
feminism?
a credit card till like
Well, they
what,
literally
the
couldn't.
70s?
No.
Like, they couldn't have been.
No, listen. Men were responsible for their wives' debts. They had to pay their wives' debts. So you, as the wife, could go to the local department store and you could buy whatever you wanted to on your husband's credit, and he had to pay the debt.
'Cause we didn't
You
work.
weren't responsible for the debt. So yes, while it's true that they wouldn't give women credit cards, they gave it to the man. The woman could still go spend as much as she wanted to and never was responsible for the debt in the marriage, ever. No debtors ever came for her. She was never responsible for any of it. So there was there's a give and take. Everything that you look at, they. So
Well, that's what I'm
you're
saying. Like the not feminist to me is like.
But the reason
who
you
fought
believe
for that
this,
to change?
the reason you believe this, and the reason you think that this is why the world works is because of what's called standpoint theory.
Standpoint
Theory. So what standpoint theory is it's a feminist theory which says that history, because it's subjective, women's history needs to be told only through the prism of a woman and how a woman thinks about it, rather than what's objectively true. So they'll leave stuff like that completely out. So I brought with me on my phone, I don't know if I can pull it out, but an old suffragette flyer, which was counter arguments to the people who were out trying to get the right to vote, right?
Okay.
And you can see the arguments then. Hey, if we get $1 million in inheritance, we don't have to share it with our husband. That was one of the arguments that was used against the suffragettes because it was true. And they weren't responsible for debt, and they didn't have any of these problems, right? So the standpoint theory kind of pollutes it. When you guys are talking about, the reason I ask you what do you think it is and then which values you disagree with, because all the values stated, I don't believe you disagree with them.
And why would you? Why would you think that you, based on the definition that you gave about what a feminist is, why would you disagree with anything that you said?
Okay, I'm talking about
like right now, feminism today, not feminism
which is
during the
still-
suffrage movement. I don't
still
believe that's the same definition.
Okay, if it's not the same definition, I'm a little bit curious to know what you're. Again, I don't identify as a feminist.
No, I'm asking
but
based
I
on your
know
definition, what you gave when he asked.
why I don't identify as a feminist.
like what's
and
wrong
like
with
I
that?
just said, because first of all, the origins of the feminism.
Right, but we're not talking about the origins,
girl,
right?
I'm getting to your point.
Okay.
Let me talk.
Go ahead.
The origins of the feminist movement, I don't identify with them. So naturally, as it progresses, that's something that I don't identify with in name, but in practice, I don't think that like because you have a penis and I have a vagina, you're better than me or I'm better than you. I think we're equal. So feminism, I mean, if we're talking about when it started a long time ago, when women needed a little bit more protection, you needed a little bit more, like we're compared to like women in the 1800s, like we have it very good. Like
that's what I'm saying though, like the feminists.
So I'm saying that came out from a time when things were so much different. So for me to it came from such an extreme. Women needed a different type of feminism than whatever is needed today. And like for me, there's women that are getting castrated and like what is it called when you can't have babies, mutilated. I don't have that problem. You don't have that problem. You don't have that problem. But
Baby boys
in some
have that
places,
problem,
I don't even agree with circumcision in baby boys. I think it's crazy, but that's neither here nor there. But in some places, there are some girls who need someone to stand up and say that just because you're a girl doesn't mean you have to be subjected to this. Does that mean I'm a feminist? I don't know. I don't identify with feminism because it was never for me. I don't have to label myself to feel my viewpoints. Like I don't need like a big thing hanging over
fair.
to define it. But it can be intersectional, which is what I'm saying.
What she's saying, what her point is, and mine too, is to say that if the word, and we're saying the word means those same values that you state.
What does it mean to you?
Well, hang on.
I'm just curious.
Hang on, just let me finish. If it means the same values that you state that you believe in, right? And then when we use the word feminism, it is to describe you.
Donated $200. Brixton, I think you and my bank are in cahoots somehow. Fool me once, I hope it still goes to you after you calling me out. Live the one, recent, cast I wasn't live. Mira, you want a 30k ring? #simp.
Yes, please, with an emerald.
So anyway, you can essentially call it whatever you want, but we're saying that when we say feminism, those same values and more values even than that, but just those same values are what we're referencing.
Sports donated $200. All on the right side of the panel have spewed anti-male rhetoric, abuse, cheating, so on. Yet you are all single, will likely remain so. Feminism has failed you. How can the patriarchy help you today?
Yo, Modest, thank you, man. Thank you, Grid One Motorsports.
Who promoted cheating or abuse? What?
Keep your hands to yourself, guys.
We were pretty much anti-abuse.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I don't know about the anti-cheating. Because Yamani.
So, did you have something more, Andrew?
Yeah, so anyway, I was just saying, when we're applying the word, We're applying the word to mean all those things you said. So we're not talking past each other. You're just saying, I don't identify it based on this other value that I have, but you haven't really said what the value is.
Okay. And I'm very devil's advocate, so I'm not like against what you're saying, but I'm really trying to understand it would help me answer you if you told me what you define feminism as, because again,
why do you need my definition to know your definition?
Well, because you just called me a feminist, so I'm just
Yeah, but
curious.
why-
She doesn't think
I'm
she's a
just
feminist.
curious
But why
what
would-
you're
but
basing
listen,
that off of.
from
And
a
I'm
logical,
listening 'cause we're having
from a logical
conversation.
perspective, you wouldn't need me to tell you the definition of a thing I asked you for a definition of to know your definition of the thing.
I feel like this is like, is it
Okay, so I'll
nihilism?
just tell you
Is
what,
that the
what
right
I
word
think
for it?
what I think
I'm
feminism
just asking
is.
because we're having
Feminism
a
to
conversation.
me,
I'm just
feminism to me, and feminism broadly is the pushing of an egalitarian society based around the equality of men and women.
Is that the most generous definition that you give it?
That's the most generous one I could possibly give.
So you don't you don't think that, I'm assuming you don't think that men and women are equal, correct?
No.
Okay, which is okay.
No,
You're allowed
I
to.
don't. I don't
No,
think
it's okay.
I don't think that egalitarianism is true. I don't think that equality is real. I don't think any of those things are true. I don't think any
Do you
of them
think
are true.
So who do you
equality
think is
should be
the-
real?
No.
Who do you think is?
I don't think. Well, I don't even think it's possible. You want me to tell you how? Farah knows. Farah knows what I'm about to say, but I'll tell you. I can tell you how. I can tell you how men and women can't be equal. You want me to tell you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If you are to look at force in society, who would you say has the monopoly on force, men or women?
Men on brute men.
The monopoly. I'm just talking about the monopoly.
Easily over they're the stronger ones.
I feel like things are set up for men, but
Can you indicate a time in history ever, in the history of all of mankind, where men didn't have the monopoly on force?
on force, as
like-
in like physical force, though, correct?
Like
Always, they're
physical
always stronger
force.
than
Yeah.
us.
oh, then yeah.
That's the biology.
They have the monopoly on physical force. So the question, when you come down to rights, is who can enforce rights? Women can't enforce their own rights. Men have to enforce women's rights. So there can never be real equality. There can never be real
this is-
Literally,
egalitarianism.
what the
Men are.
fuck?
I just want to say, men are a little bit more very. That is like so violent in nature.
What the
Even what you just
fuck?
said, like
Sorry.
every society, of course, you need force, but the fact that you feel like because you're stronger than someone, or you can overpower them, you're more entitled
No.
to some
no,
sort
no,
of
hang on,
thing.
listen, so that you get it real quick. Hang on, just
Okay.
hear me out.
Yeah.
Inside of your society,
Okay.
you have rights, right? Those rights need to be enforced, right? So somebody doesn't violate them, right? Who's the enforcement
But
arm?
it's not
Women's
usually
rights were
physically.
mostly
It
created
is
though
usually physically.
in response
What
to
do you do
men.
with criminals?
I mean, you put them in jail, but
And
like,
who does that?
There's never been a female officer ever.
I'm not saying there hasn't been, but who does that? Who puts them in jail? And then who guards them while they're in jail?
I mean,
Men.
I don't want to say that because I know women security guards that are
but
fucking rappers in jail.
You're speaking always to the exception. You always look to the outlier. It's not that there can't be some women who are on par with some men. It's that as a monolith, men are the grantors of force, the grantors of rights, and here's how. Whenever you need criminals dealt with in society, it's men who are going to be dealing with the criminals. They're going to be putting them in the jails. They're going to be enforcing your laws. They're going to be protecting you while you sleep through the military and through the
I don't
force
disagree.
there.
But have we ever given women the opportunity
Yes.
to
See,
be in
here's
that
the amazing
place?
part. The amazing part is right now they have all that opportunity and they still can't do it. Meaning,
Or don't
I don't
want
think they
to.
do.
men inside, yes, they do. Where do women have less opportunity to become the enforcement arm than men in society right now? Tell me.
The
You
workplace.
just said they have a monopoly on force. I don't
Well,
disagree.
then
I think
I'm
men are
asking-
protectors, and they like. If I have a husband, he's probably bigger than me. If someone comes to try to fight me, I'm not going to be like, "Oh, hold on, I got this." I'm going to expect my man to handle it.
But that's not my question.
So,
My question is, can women be police officers?
Yes.
Can they be in the
Yes.
military?
Yes.
Okay, can they be prison guards?
Yes,
Yeah.
but can
Okay,
they
so
do
do they
all the
ever
same
have
things?
less opportunity
Yes,
to be in the enforcement arm?
because there's people
Yes.
in the in that employ them that hold up
That's
that
why
patriarchy.
it's called a police
No,
man.
what happens instead is this.
Because
is
they were
that
only men in the
inside of the
beginning.
military and inside the police force and inside all these different enforcement arms, when you include women, you lower the standard. You lower the standard in order to bring women in. Meaning the female standards in the military.
Physically?
Yes, physically. So
But
the
you
standard.
need nurses in the military. You need women.
You don't need
They're not
them,
helping us, Yamani.
but they are there.
You don't need a nurse in the. You don't need.
You don't
doctors
need
in the
female
military.
nurses. You could have male nurses.
I'm just going on like more of the traditional values of like.
Yeah, what I'm
almost
just
like-
talking about an equalization of force. Men have an overwhelming amount of power and force, and so women can't actually enforce their rights against men, whereas men can change the conditions almost any time they want based on their will because they have the monopoly of force.
You don't think that's because that's how it's been set up in time and history for them?
If it wasn't for men,
Skiz
though,
Tech, thank you for the gifted 100 subs.
No, it's not. The reason that it's that way is because men are overwhelmingly physically stronger than women.
who were women's rights protecting us from, though? I'm like a general. Were they protecting women from other women, or women from, as you said, the people who hold the monopoly on brute force?
Well, they're not really protecting anybody from anything because they're an illusion. It's
But
illusory.
if you were to answer my question, the reason that women felt so strongly,
They didn't feel strongly. The suffragettes were a small portion. Most women did not want the right. When I can't even get into this, but most women did not want most of these rights. Okay, I can't get into it for TOS reasons, but most of them didn't even want them.
I'm not
What ended
disagreeing.
up happening instead was that it was a small collective of very weak men who really pushed through with a lot of money to push feminists and these feminist ideals through. But most women didn't want anything to do with it because here, let me, if you don't mind, if you'll humor me, let me read these anti-arguments. This is from a original anti-suffrage flyer.
Why were the weak
I am
men
not even a
Here's
feminist.
what it
supporting
says.
feminism?
Special privileges. Married women are not required to contribute to support of the family. Women may work, earn money, and spend it as she pleases, may own real and personal property and dispose of it or sell it without her husband's knowledge or consent. The list goes on and on and on. Wife may have millions and cut her husband off without a cent. These do not sound like
that's
women were
crazy.
treated poorly or that they weren't treated as equals. They were treated as different because they are different.
Agreed.
And so what happened instead was that men had the overwhelming burden of responsibility, and they were forced by society, the enforcement arm, which is other men, to do their duty. And women were not forced to do that. And when we see the societal role being reversed, where women are forced instead to take on roles that require duty, they don't want it. They completely reject it. Like she said, it's basically just all me, me, me. And that's why the roles are so messed up. That's why everything is so reversed. That's why everything is the opposite of what it's supposed to be.